In the ever-chaotic world of American politics, few things have been as disruptive and unpredictable as Donald Trump's presidency. His administration was marked by scandal, mismanagement, and a revolving door of cabinet picks who often seem to be chosen based on loyalty rather than qualifications. Yet, despite the constant turmoil, Trump maintained a hold on the Republican Party and his base, using the media, public appearances, and policy decisions to keep the spotlight on himself. As we approach the aftermath of Trump's term and the growing pressure of his possible return to the Oval Office, one aspect remains crucial in understanding his political influence: the decisions he made regarding his cabinet and his ability to use legal and political tactics to shield his associates, allies, and even family members from accountability. One of the most concerning and controversial elements of his administration was his selection of cabinet members, many of whom faced serious allegations and scandals. From sexual misconduct accusations to financial mismanagement, these figures embodied the chaos of the Trump era. However, these cabinet picks were not just isolated incidents of bad judgment. They were part of a larger pattern of what can be described as a political Russian roulette, where loyalty to Trump, rather than competence or ethical standards, was the deciding factor in many of his key appointments. As we reflect on the fallout from Trump's cabinet picks, it's essential to examine the intersection of law and politics, where scandal, FBI investigations, and pardon power all come together. The legal landscape has been forever altered by Trump's administration, and the question now is not just about accountability, but about how these scandals, missteps, and legal maneuvers will continue to shape American politics in the years to come. In this video, we'll dive deep into the issues surrounding Trump's cabinet, his chaotic management of the White House, and the ongoing legal battles that still reverberate today. 1. The Trump cabinet, a fateful collection of scandals. When Donald Trump assumed office in January 2017, one of his first orders of business was selecting individuals to serve in key positions across his administration. While it is not uncommon for incoming presidents to appoint individuals who align with their political beliefs or who have demonstrated loyalty, Trump's selections went far beyond that. It became apparent that the standard vetting process, which typically includes a thorough background check and scrutiny of past actions, was often bypassed in favor of individuals who were perceived to be loyal to the president or who possessed qualities that Trump personally admired. Several of Trump's cabinet picks quickly became embroiled in scandal, with accusations ranging from corruption to sexual misconduct. Among the most notable figures was Matt Gaetz, who was considered for the role of Attorney General. Gaetz, who represented Florida in Congress, was surrounded by allegations of sexual misconduct, including sex trafficking, with many women accusing him of inappropriate behavior. Despite these serious allegations, Trump was initially willing to push for Gaetz's confirmation, indicating his preference for loyalty over ethical considerations. It wasn't just Gaetz who found himself embroiled in scandal. One of Trump's top picks for Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, also faced a myriad of troubling allegations, including sexual misconduct, financial misconduct, and even a rape allegation. The latter became particularly significant when it was revealed that Hegseth had allegedly failed to disclose a police report that contained these accusations, causing further outrage within the transition team and fueling concerns about his fitness for the position. The question arose: how could someone with such a history be considered for one of the most powerful positions in the country? As the investigation into Hegseth's past unfolded, it became clear that Trump's team had done little to vet him adequately. This was a pattern that continued throughout the administration, with cabinet members and appointees often facing minimal scrutiny before being given immense power. The lack of a proper background check or vetting process was a hallmark of Trump's chaotic management style, which many observers believe was rooted in a desire to avoid anything that might hinder his political ambitions or disturb his inner circle. 2. The FBI's smokescreen, covering for the unqualified and scandal-plagued. Perhaps one of the most striking elements of Trump's handling of his cabinet appointments was the way he used the FBI and the Department of Justice to shield his choices from scrutiny. Despite his repeated attacks on the FBI throughout his presidency, calling the agency corrupt, biased, and part of the so-called deep state, Trump turned to the agency when it suited him, using its resources to provide a cover for his political decisions. This was especially evident when Trump's transition team, under the scrutiny of the media and public, began to face backlash for their lack of proper vetting of cabinet picks. In particular, the FBI was brought in to conduct background checks on some of Trump's most controversial picks, like Hegseth. It was a move that seemed to contradict Trump's earlier rhetoric against the FBI, but it was clear that the president was willing to use the agency when it served his purposes. The background check process, however, was problematic in itself. With only a few weeks remaining before Congress was scheduled to begin confirmation hearings, the Trump team faced a tight timeline. In what seemed like a desperate attempt to push through some of the more controversial appointments, the administration opted to allow the FBI to conduct rushed investigations into the backgrounds of several nominees, including those who had already raised red flags due to past allegations. Critics argued that this was a deliberate attempt to buy time and avoid accountability, allowing Trump to claim that the FBI had uncovered problematic information about certain candidates, providing him with an excuse to backtrack on some of his more controversial picks. The FBI's involvement in this process became a key point of contention, as many saw it as a way for Trump to have his cake and eat it too. He could maintain his loyalty to the MAGA base while also using the FBI to clean up his mess. 3. The pardon power, a strategic tool for Trump's allies. As scandals mounted and Trump's cabinet members faced increasing pressure, the question of pardons became an ever-present topic of discussion. Trump was notorious for his use of the pardon power, often granting clemency to individuals who were closely tied to him or his political allies. This included not only those who had been convicted of crimes related to the Trump administration, but also individuals who had been involved in the broader conservative movement. One of the most controversial aspects of Trump's use of the pardon power was his willingness to pardon individuals who were facing serious legal consequences for their actions, including figures like Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, and Michael Flynn, all of whom had been involved in Trump's inner circle during the 2016 election and subsequent investigations into Russian interference. The pardons raised concerns about the politicization of the justice system and the idea that Trump was using his power to protect his own interests rather than uphold justice. As Trump's term neared its end, there was widespread speculation that he would issue even more pardons, including for members of his own family and political allies. It was widely believed that Trump would use the pardon power as a shield for anyone who might be implicated in legal challenges following his presidency. These pardons were seen as a way for Trump to ensure that his loyalists would be protected from prosecution, even as they faced mounting evidence of criminal conduct. For Joe Biden, the incoming president, the question of pardons would soon take center stage. Biden had already faced criticism for his decision to pardon certain individuals, including former New York Times journalist Jeffrey Toobin. But with Trump's pardons looming large, Biden was urged to use his own pardon power to protect those who had been targeted by the Trump administration's legal battles. Some even suggested that Biden could issue broad, sweeping pardons for members of the Department of Justice and other prosecutors who had worked on cases involving Trump, providing them with legal protection from potential retaliation. In this context, Biden's use of the pardon power became not only a political decision but also a strategic one. By issuing pardons to those who had been involved in legal battles related to Trump, Biden could send a clear message about the importance of protecting the rule of law and standing up to political pressure. 4. The Russian roulette of Trump's cabinet. Chaos, mismanagement, and lack of accountability. At the heart of Trump's presidency was a chaotic approach to governance, marked by poor decision-making, a revolving door of cabinet members, and a blatant disregard for ethics and the rule of law. His cabinet picks were often unqualified, scandal-ridden individuals who were elevated to positions of immense power, not because of their experience or qualifications, but because of their loyalty to Trump. This created a political atmosphere of instability and unpredictability, where it often seemed as if no one in the administration was truly fit for their position. One of the most troubling aspects of this was the way in which Trump's cabinet picks were treated by Congress and the media. While many nominees faced scrutiny for their past actions and lack of qualifications, there was little accountability for the president's choices. This was compounded by the fact that Trump was able to use the FBI and other government agencies to shield his picks from further examination, effectively creating a smokescreen around the worst offenders. The question now is how Trump's cabinet will be remembered in the long term. Will history view it as a series of missteps and scandals, or will it be seen as part of a broader pattern of political maneuvering aimed at consolidating power and protecting Trump and his allies from the consequences of their actions? Regardless of how it's remembered, one thing is clear: Trump's cabinet was a testament to his chaotic and often reckless approach to governance.